Morning, it's April the 13th in real time. We're just moved up to Grand Case Bay, which is the top of St Martin, the French side, and we're waiting here because tomorrow we have a favourable weather window where we can start heading back south. Back in December or November when we made our plans was to get to the BVIs, however, best laid plans in sand and all that. We've had some periods of bad weather. We're stuck in Guadeloupe for about 4 weeks, and we're also stuck on St Lucia and Beckway while we're waiting for the water-maker parts to be delivered. So that's probably about 6 or 7 weeks wasted. However, we have to go because we have to be down in Grenada by the end of May, just to make sure we're out of the hurricane box. So I've started using windy now rather than predict wind because I think it's a better, let's take these up now so I can see, it's a better user interface. So what we can see here is on Monday we've got 10 to 14 knots of wind from the east-northeast, and into Tuesday it's going more north-east, then it goes back round to east. So we're trying to go from here to here. It's about a distance of 140 miles. And what I really like about this is you can click in here and just go to wind, and it compares all the wind models. So this is all the five models. So you can just click, 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 and they're all kind of in alignment. And the reason why we don't really know where we're going to try and get to Guadeloupe, but we can stop at Antigua, we could stop at St Kitts, we could stop at Montserrat, but our preference is to try and get all the way to Guadeloupe because as the weekend goes, the wind starts to go southeast, and then we get a period of no wind when it's all from the southeast, which is not good for us trying to get down to Guadeloupe. And it's not till, if I go out of that, if I cancel that and go to this, it's not till you get right to the end of the month the winds go back round to the northeast. So we'll go to Guadeloupe. Good morning. Well, it's 5:15 in the morning. We've been up about 15 minutes. That's us, good to go. We're just about to start the engine and lift the anchor up and hoist the sails. We've got 12 knots of wind from the east-southeast, which is not as further forecast. And we've got Coriander over on our starboard bow. He's sailing at the moment. He's motoring at the moment, whereas we're sailing, as we're skinflints. We're just going to head up round the top end of St Martin, maybe sail out 2-3 miles, and then we'll tack, and that should be us on course for wherever we're heading. So this is us just approaching the northeast corner of St Martin. That's just over there. And if I pan round, in the distance you can see the island of St Bart's, and then over on the left we can see the nature reserve called Tintamarra, where there's quite a few boats anchored there, but you need a permit to go in there. So we're going to go and tack in a minute and go through the gap, I think. And you won't be able to see it, but Coriander's just still motoring down through the gap. This is us now rounded the top end of St Martin. So this is the eastern side of the island we're looking at. And we've got a wee catamaran pretending to sail to our starboard. We've now just bared away because we've just decided to head to St Martin because winds aren't that relatively strong. We've only got 12 knots of wind. So to get to Antigua we would have to probably beat all the way because there's a wee bit south in the wind. So we'll take the easy option. So over in our port bow we have the St Bart's, and on our starboard bow over there is St Eustatius. Then just under the foresail you can see Saba, and way in the distance you can see St Kitts. And we're going along 6.3, 6.6 in 14 knots of wind. We've now come 20 miles and the wind is now on the nose. So we're sailing in a course of about 170 degrees. So that means the wind's kind of southeast-ish. And in the front we can now see St Kitts. Antigua will be down that direction. Down in the distance you can just see Montserrat, and we're just in line with St Eustatius. Why do they have to make the bloody names so complicated to pronounce? We're travelling along at 170 degrees and the wind is probably southeast because we're on 40 degrees to the apparent wind, which means we're on a beat. But we'll carry on this and then we'll bear off a wee bit to go through the channel between St Kitts and Saba. The boat that's just coming by us at the moment is a boat called Minerva, and he's from Trinidad, and it looks like he's going home to America. And he left the hay yesterday at 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock just now, so it's taken him 12 hours to come maybe 60 miles. Well, a bit more than 80, Irene's saying. And it just looks like he said head sailing. So that's the wind settled down now. It's now at 16 knots and it's maybe about 70 degrees, 60, 70 degrees off the bow. We're making quite good speed. 7 knots through the water. And we're now approaching St Kitts, and just down at the bottom you can see Nevis. Now there's a gap in between Nevis and St Kitts that would make it easier to get to our anchorage. However, it's not been charted. The charts say it's from old lead lines back in the 1800s. So, and to take caution. So we'll just go round the top of St Kitts and go down the leeward side of the island. So we probably won't have any wind. I've just given up fishing because we can't catch sargassum seaweed. There's hundreds of it. So it's a waste of time. And we're now, I don't know, 10 miles away from St Kitts. So we'll have to sail down the leeward side of it, so we might not get sail, we might have to motor. There's one other boat with us just over there called Orion 2. He looks like he's going down through the bottom channel, which we did try to change our course to, but we're beaten well into it, so we'll just go this way. Western side of the island, so we can get a look at the western side of the island. This is St. Statius, also known as Statia, for those that can't pronounce the first version, i.e. me. And just look at that, it looks like a volcano. You can just imagine all the magma getting flung out it. And then that's its northern end. This is the northern end of St. Kitts, and you can't see Nevis anymore because it's hidden behind the mountain. So we'll be there in about an hour. Then it's just hopefully we'll be able to sail slowly down the western coast. But at least we'll get to see the capital called Basse-Terre, which is about halfway down, and we're going down to about 3/4 of the way down the island. And it doesn't look very nice over there. That'll be Antigua direction. What you find in all the Caribbean islands is they have a landfill, and what they do is every now and again they'll set it alight to burn it all, and this is probably what's happened here. Up the landfill site, getting burned. There's nowhere else to process the waste. They should be getting biomass power plants, and that will deal with it. Once we're around the top northwestern point of St. Kitts, you can see that the sea state flattens off and it's a much more pleasurable sail, but there's still a bit of a bounce. Now we're on the leeward side of the island. So this isn't any ordinary cloud. If we zoom right in when we're doing our editing, you'll see the start of a water spout coming down from the cloud. If it gets any worse, I'll take some more videos. Just deleted it, so there'll be no this time. We've arrived, the anchor's in, the sail's away, the logbook's been written, text to the family's been texted, no foreign land position's been updated, blog position's been updated, so only one more thing to do is cheers. I hope you enjoyed our resale to St. Kitts. Our probable plan from here is probably to go back to Antigua, we think, via Montserrat. We might Q-flag at Montserrat for a night if the conditions are just. So, we'll see you in the next episode. Saracen out. See you.